Alright, it's 5 a.m. and we're headed to Los Angeles to kick off our Babymoon. Hey guys, it's Stoof from Travel SzN. For those of you that missed out on our exciting announcement video in the Tetons, we are expecting a baby girl due in December. This video documents our Babymoon, which is like a honeymoon, but it comes before you have a baby. For this vacation, we visited the general LA and Ventura areas of California. We wanted to check another national park off of our list. We wanted to try out some good food, and we wanted to check out some of the more touristy destinations in the LA area that we haven't visited yet. Before I dive into this video, I wanted to extend a welcome to our channel and invite you to subscribe if you're interested in travel and nature related content. Alright, so we kicked off our trip with a flight to LA. Once we landed in LA, we picked up our rental vehicle and began the drive over to Ventura, California. After checking into the hotel and unwinding for a bit, we headed to the Channel Islands National Park Visitor Center located in the Ventura area so we could learn a little bit more about the park before our boat ride over to the islands the next day. For dinner this evening, we tried out some ramen at a local ramen shop. When we visit California, ramen and tacos are our favorite things to eat because they are just so much better in California than Pennsylvania. Good morning! It's Friday and we're here at Island Packers. It is
very foggy.
Very foggy this morning. We're hoping that burns off, but we'll see. But at least we are able to take our boat over to Santa Cruz Island today. It was a foggy, misty 1-hour boat ride over from the mainland, California, to Santa Cruz Island in the Channel Islands National Park. The boat ride was actually a lot of fun. We have taken boat rides before where you have to stay seated the entire time. However, that was not the case on this boat ride. We were allowed to get up and walk around while the boat was moving. We could see dolphins and other wildlife out in the water. We saw lots of seabirds. As we first arrived at Santa Cruz Island at Scorpion Anchorage, we were welcomed by the Chumash people as they were celebrating a reunion weekend together on the island. They asked us not to record any of their activities, so we gave them some privacy, but it was a very unique experience to be on the island and be able to experience some of their culture. The first thing we did at Santa Cruz Island was start our kayak tour, where we kayaked out into the water and we went in and out of different sea caves. On the kayak tour, we were able to see a mama and a baby seal. We saw a Garibaldi fish, not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but they're those bright orange fish. We saw lots of sea kelp. And our guide talked to us and gave us more information about the flora and fauna and history of the island. After wrapping up the kayak tour, we dropped off our gear and changed in the bathroom facilities near the campground where we saw our first island fox. I have a whole video about the island foxes. They are heckin' adorable. I love them. They're smaller than the mainland gray fox due to natural selection. If you want to learn more about them, I have a link in the description under this video about the island foxes. About midday, we began our hike to Potato Harbor. This hike was about a 4.5 to 5 mile loop overall. It took you higher in elevation on the island, so you had some beautiful views looking down at the Scorpion Anchorage area. As we continued our hike, headed west on the island, we started to get back into more of the fog, and we couldn't see as much. There wasn't as much visibility, but it was still a beautiful hike. Once we made it over to Potato Harbor, there was a lot of fog blowing up from that little cove area, so we didn't get the best view there. On a sunny day, it is pristine turquoise water in that little harbor, so unfortunately we didn't get that view, but we still could see where the water was, so at least we had enough visibility to see how high up we were. Hello from Channel Islands! We made our way back down in elevation on the hike to the Upper Scorpion Campground, where we were able to see some of the endemic island scrub jays. These birds are found nowhere else in the world, so that was really impressive to see not one, but 4 or 5 of them all hanging out in this one area near the campground there. We continued our walk back to Scorpion Anchorage as it was getting close to time to get back on the boat. We were only there for a day trip because the campground was closed to visitors that weekend, but we did get to see another few island foxes before making it back to the boat. It was about a 1-hour boat ride back to mainland Ventura. After getting back to the mainland and hopping in our rental vehicle, we picked up some delicious pizza from Toppers and ate that on our drive down to LA. And for this part of the trip, we spent 2 nights at the Kimpton Hotel Wilshire. This beautiful little boutique hotel is part of the IHG Rewards program. We used our rewards nights for a couple nights here, and we really enjoyed this hotel. They have a beautiful rooftop space overlooking the Hollywood sign. This rooftop area has a pool and a restaurant which had delicious breakfast food.
And we're here at the La Brea Tar Pits Museum.
We spent a few hours at the La Brea Tar Pits and museum space. As some of you know, I used to be a geologist and I took a few classes on paleontology in college, and I really enjoy this stuff. I find it so fascinating. So we spent a couple hours in the museum learning more about the different species of animals that were preserved in these tar pits. And it was a really cool experience to still be able to smell that tar and see the tar bubbles popping up through those ponds.
It smells strongly of like tar asphalt.
We walked back to our hotel from the La Brea Tar Pits, passing the Art Museum outdoor space where we got to see the Street Lights installation piece. This installation is titled Urban Light. It has been up since February of 2008, and it is now a symbol of the city of Los Angeles. After making it back to the hotel, we put on our swimsuits and headed up to the rooftop pool deck, where we were pleasantly surprised with DJs performing throughout the afternoon. Later that day, we headed over to Little Tokyo, where we spent the rest of the afternoon browsing the shops. The next morning, we had an early 9-year wedding anniversary breakfast brunch celebration at Redbird Restaurant, and we checked out of the hotel and drove over to the Santa Monica area where we stayed at the Sanborn Hotel. For these last 2 days of our trip, we spent some time at the beach.
Hey, Steph. Oh!
We also walked around the shops at the 3rd Street Promenade, visited some restaurants, including Ye Old King's Head, which has British pub food that Nate loves. We also walked around the Santa Monica Pier, which is the end of Route 66. As we were walking back to the hotel that evening, we saw a procession of light-up bicycles playing fun EDM music and riding around on the bike path. So that was pretty cool to see. The next day, we walked that boardwalk path area along the beach, grabbed some breakfast food, and then headed back to the hotel to start packing up to check out.
And I don't know if you felt that, or I know you felt it. What were you doing?
I did. Well,
Right before we checked out, we did experience our first earthquake. I was in the hotel room resting. Nate was getting his things together in the restroom, and he said, "Steph, are we having an earthquake right now? And I didn't notice it as much because I was sitting on the bed, but it was an earthquake. I started to feel some rocking motion happening, and it was interesting as we were checking out in the lobby. The staff in the lobby did not even feel the earthquake on the first floor, but up in our hotel room, we could feel the earthquake. So after checking out, we stopped to grab some lunch at the ramen joint. This was our last opportunity to get some yummy ramen in before heading home, so we took advantage of that. And we made it back to the airport, took our flight home to Pittsburgh, where we drove home and were greeted by our loving doggies, Duke and Zoro. And that wrapped up our Babymoon trip of 2024. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed our vlog. It was a really fun trip that combined some of my favorite things and some of Nate's favorite things. We got to relax, but we also got to sightsee. Because this baby is due in early December, we don't have a whole lot of travel on our schedule for the next several months. However, I have a backlog of videos to create for you guys, so I will be catching up on some of our past travel experiences, so keep an eye out for those. Have a wonderful day and happy travels!